Should you invest in stocks or should you invest in bonds? Mutual funds or ETFs? Regardless of your age or kung kailan ka nagsimulang mag-invest, sooner or later, kailangan mo na rin itanong sa sarili mo kung ano ba yung tamang balance of investments. So in this video, I will be revealing my portfolio and discuss where I allocate my assets, what I'm investing into, and then in the end, we will discuss kung ano yung mga changes that I want to introduce into my portfolio. And disclaimer lang before we start, I am not a financial expert and I have no idea what I'm talking about. So, huwag kayong maniwala sa akin. This asset allocation only works for me and it may not work for you. So just keep that in mind and take this video with a grain of salt and always do your due diligence. Huwag din po tayo maghanap ng magic formula na magpapayaman sa atin kasi po hindi sa bituin nakasalalay ang ating kapalaran. Gabay lamang sila. Meron tayong free will, gamitin natin ito. So, some very quick notes lang muna before we start our discussion. First is, walang traditional real estate dito sa listahan natin because yung parents ko yung naghirap at nag-sacrifice para mabili yun, para i-finance yung mga properties na yun. So, hindi pa ako comfortable na sabihin akin kahit na under my name naman. Second, I will exclude the bank accounts and investment accounts that I share with my girlfriend. Third, yung investment value na ipapakita ko ay paper values lang. So, may kasamang paper gain or paper loss. And finally, hindi ko isasama yung mga mandatory contributions because we are only talking about my investment portfolio, not my net worth. So, hindi kasama yung pag-ibig and SSS. So let's start with my largest allocation, stocks. So hindi na surprising na ito yung largest allocation ko for my portfolio and I'm happy that it is kasi I am still in my mid-20s and I can still afford to take risks and it only makes sense to be heavy on long-term investments such as stocks na high risk with high rewards. If interested kayo how I pick stocks, ano yung mga buy signal, sell signal, I have discussed my strategy in detail which is called swing trading and you can watch that video later. REITs are hybrid assets that combine the advantages of two traditional assets like stocks and real estate. So relatively new pa lang yung mga REITs sa Pilipinas. Pero when I first heard the news na magkakaroon nga, I really researched about this asset class and na-inlove ako sa structure niya. So as I research more and more about REITs, na-realize ko na bagay talaga siya dun sa isang investment account ko na yung strategy is dividend investing. We currently have 5 REITs in the country, A-REIT, DDMPR, PhilREIT, RCR, and M-REIT. Obviously, it's not as amazing as the other dividend-producing assets like stocks, di ba? Pero what I love about REITs ay yung predictability. So, kung masipag ka maghabol at maghanap ng stocks na may 10+% dividend yields, then good for you and I respect your hustle. Pero para sa atin na hindi naman palagi nagtitrade, hindi full-time sa trading, it's better to accumulate REITs as early as now, as early as we can, to take advantage of compounding interest. So originally, hindi ko dapat isasama yung emergency fund when computing for my total investment portfolio kasi originally 100% of my EF is in a traditional bank which we all know is not as efficient kasi kinakain lang yung gains ng inflation. Pero fortunately, na-convince ako ng mga friends ko, yung mga friends ko na passionate din in investing, in creating passive income, na i-try ko daw yung digital banks. So because of that, nilipat ko na yung half of my emergency fund from traditional bank to CIMB which is a digital bank if you are not yet familiar with that. Marami tayong options sa digital banks like CIMB, ING, Tony. Pero CIMB na kasi yung pinaka-convenient kasi linked siya with GCash and madali lang mag-transfer from GCash to CIMB and vice versa. CIMB has 2.4 or 2.5%, hindi ako sure dun sa decimal point, na interest per annum and it's much higher than the traditional bank interest kahit pa i-compare mo sa time deposit. Mas mataas pa rin yung makukuha mong interest sa digital bank compared to yung mga banks nga na brick and mortar. So Kuya Rap, bakit 50% lang yung nilipat mo from your traditional bank to a digital bank? Bakit hindi na lang lahat? Well, to answer that question, we have to step back and ask ano nga ba yung emergency fund? And yung sagot dito is yung top priority ng emergency fund is pag kailangan mo ng pera, kailangan mo ng liquid cash na makagamit in case of emergencies, makukuha mo siya anytime. Mataas yung accessibility nito. And since merong ATM dito sa building namin, nandun lang yung 50% ng emergency fund ko, kaya hindi ko nilipat lahat papunta sa digital bank. Mababa pa lang yung exposure or yung allocation ko sa bonds, and this is intentional. I will explain it later. Pero ayun, I only have one type of bond, which is premium bonds, and it is a government bond with 1-year maturity. You can watch our video about my 6 sources of income if you are interested in this type of government bond. So pagdating sa pag-split ng capital mo between stocks and bonds, i-follow down natin yung 100 minus your age formula. So according dun sa rule of thumb or sa suggestion, if your age is 30, then 100 minus 30 is 70. So 70 daw yung ilalagay mo sa stocks, and then the remaining 30 yung sa bonds. So yung age mo actually, kung nasang dekada ka na, yun lang yung gagamitin mo for bonds. So the rationale behind this is habang bata ka, kaya mo pang mag-take ng risk, so mas malaki yung nasa stocks. And then as you age, as you grow older, unti-unti mong ililipat yung assets mo from stocks papunta sa bonds. So for example, if you are at your 40s, then 60% na lang sa stocks kasi ililipat mo na yung 10% papunta sa bonds. And then if you're at your 50s, 50-50 na yung allocation mo for stocks saka bonds. Pero syempre, suggestion lang yon and guide lang siya for people who are starting out and people who don't want to make so much decisions kasi simple lang yung portfolio nila, stocks saka bonds. I have to tread carefully when discussing about my coins, my crypto, kasi I'm sure maraming opinionated when it comes to the different coins, different use cases. So let's just keep it simple. So first of all, syempre yung pinaka top one na crypto, which is Bitcoin. Meron akong konting Bitcoin in coins.ph and I try to swing trade BTC pero hindi siya ganun ka-advisable when you want to trade kasi syempre mataas yung fees sa coins.ph. Now, if serious ka naman sa pagtitrade or sa pag-invest sa crypto, then consider using Binance. Meron akong ilang coins sa Binance account ko such as Ripple, BNB, Cardano, Shiba, and Dogecoin. Diba? Halo-halo. Merong legit coins, meron ding mga meme coins. So in terms of the second largest market cap naman, which is Ethereum, wala na akong Ethereum ngayon kasi medyo malaki yung gain natin a few months ago nung binenta ko. Hindi siya malaki in terms of absolute value, malaki siya in terms of percentage. So ayun, after converting my Ethereum to USD, ginamit ko siya pambili ng coins nga kanina na pinag-usapan natin in Binance so I can diversify and reduce my risk. And then, yung natirang Ethereum, ginamit ko siya pambili ng Axie. Yes, I am talking about the game, Axie Infinity. Pero hanggang dun lang, kulang pa ako ng 2 Axie, hindi pa ako nakapaglaro. And medyo okay na rin na hindi ito impulsive purchase kasi pinag-iisipan ko. Tinatimingan ko yung mababang price ng 2 Axie para makabuo ako ng team, and wala pa kasi akong additional capital para gawin yun. The cost right now to build a team of Axies, of 3 Axies is around 60 to 90k pesos, so wala akong ganyang kalaking disposable capital. Kaya I'm just taking it slowly. So when I say cash, yung context nito is cash in my investment accounts, yung mga buying power ko. Not the cash in my payroll account or yung nasa wallet ko, ganyan. Maliit na lang sa ngayon yung cash ko or yung buying power ko in my investment accounts. Kasi the economy is already recovering, albeit slowly. Pero yun, I made sure na i-deploy ko na sila in stocks or REITs man yan. Kasi nga I have to take advantage of the low base effect. Bumaba yung mga stocks, yung mga REITs ngayong pandemic. And pag nag-recover na yung stock market, then pataas na silang lahat. So for this next allocation, pinagsama ko na lang yung 2 investment ko, and the first one is Farm On. So in simple terms, Farm On is like Farmville pero in real life, so pwede kang mag-invest sa farm lots. Meron silang food products like rice, vegetables, fruits, and meron ding animals like chicken and tilapia. Nag-invest ako dito sa Farm On last 2018 and ayokong siraan yung Farm On na, pero yung investment ko dapat 8 months lang ROI na, hindi pa siya bumabalik hanggang ngayon, which is already more than 3 years. Do you know why? Kasi okay naman yung Farm On talaga. Minalas lang talaga sila ngayong pandemic. And isipin mo, nasa 23rd batch na ako ng investors. So, it's safe to say na yung first batch to, sabihin na natin 20th batch, nakuha nila lahat yung capital nila with some profit. So, okay naman talaga, minalas lang. And you know guys, we always say in this channel that we should avoid victim mentality. So, hindi ko na lang dinibdib yung nangyari. Napatunayan ko lang talaga yung saying na you should only invest the money that you are willing to lose. So yun, naging real life lesson na lang siya sa akin. And I'm not saying na hindi ibabalik ni Farm On yung pera ko kasi active naman yung management in giving out information that they are creating these disbursement programs para mabalik sa investors yung pera with some interest, with some profit. Yun nga lang, medyo mabagal. So after farm on, yung second investment in this section is Pag-ibig MP2. And balikan nyo na lang siguro yung video natin about the 5 money mistakes that you should avoid in your 20s kung gusto nyo ng brief summary about Pag-ibig MP2. Meron akong 4 mutual funds right now, and let's discuss first the first 2 kasi nasa Call Financial sila. Yung other 2 are in G Invest. The first fund is called Atram Alpha Opportunity Fund, ticker symbol XAKAO. I bought this equity fund last Feb 2021, and as of the recording of this video, nasa 23% na yung gain niya. So I like this mutual fund kasi it's very aggressive and therefore very risky din. Actually, itong fund na to yung may pinakamataas na year-to-date gain among all the mutual funds. The second mutual fund is syempre yung mutual fund na binili natin in a previous video, di ba? Pinakita ko sa inyo yung thought process ko kung paano ko nagkaroon ng elimination process among 4 different mutual fund providers. And of course, I'm talking about the Phil Equity Index Fund, fund code XPEIF. So for the third and fourth funds, binili ko lang sila kasi gusto ko matry yung G Invest. I currently hold the top 2 most aggressive feeder funds, which are Atram Global Technology Feeder Fund and Atram Global Consumer Trends Feeder Fund. Pareho silang feeder fund, which means they are funds that let us Filipinos invest in global markets, global stock markets. And yung downside lang nito is patong-patong yung fees kasi bukod dun sa annual management fee, which is normal for any mutual fund, you still have to worry about the currency risk when you convert the peso into dollar and then the dollar into peso when you sell it. So yung personal strategy ko dito is I do peso cost averaging on the only ETF available in the Philippines, which is FMETF. Yung schedule ko is I buy a certain number of shares of FMETF shares every Wednesday using the automatic buying system sa Call Financial, which they call the EIP or the EC Investment Program. So this is like my backup plan in case my active stock trading doesn't give me my target results in the long run. Yun, plano ko lang bumili and accumulate ng FMETF in the long run, in the long game. I am doing this strategy because FMETF is just copying the PSEI performance, which historically has always gone up over the decades. Ayun, so this is actually the first time that I tried to create an overview of my complete investment portfolio, which means yung mga percentages na nakita natin, I'm gonna be honest, hindi yan intentional, accidental lang lahat yan. This has also been a learning opportunity for me, so masaya ako na ginawa ko tong video na to. Kinolect ko lahat ng information across all my investments, and masaya ako kasi data-driven talaga ako mag-decide instead na haka-haka lang. And you know what they say, you can't improve what you don't measure. And speaking of things that I can improve on, plano ko sanang dagdagan pa yung allocation ko in mutual funds saka ETF, specifically sa index funds kasi gusto kong dagdagan yung backup plan ko in case na magkamali ako in my stock picking, in my individual stock trading activities. So yun, yung volatility ng stock market ngayon, they will all be negligible in the far future. So yun lang guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you on the next one. Bye!